Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 17 called Recapture Your Joie de Vivre. So, today's topic is about joy, or more specifically, how we recapture and keep joy in our lives. Well, we all know the phrase La Joie de Vivre, which actually means the joy of living. But what is joy? Well, it's when we feel very alive, we feel happy, and we are hopeful. And as children, our bodies perfectly understand what joy is all about. But what happens when we grow up? We learn to behave, and it starts when we are very young. I remember as a little girl in my kindergarten class, we had naps. We had naps back then. Well, my little self never needed a nap. So when it was nap time, I'd always put my mat down next to my friend who happened to have very long and very beautiful dark hair. Now, I had super short white blonde hair that my mother often cut. So even as a kindergartner, I knew it didn't look very good. Plus, I wanted long, dark hair. So once the room was quiet, I'd take a section of my friend's hair and lay it down my chest, pretending it was mine. Pure joy, until my teacher, of course, Mrs. Glover, reprimanded me. This is an example of how we slowly learn that expressions of joy are unacceptable. We learn we are supposed to moderate our emotions. We put on our game faces, play out our roles as the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the dutiful daughter, the loyal employee, the strong leader. It is only when we are really old that it is okay to once again display joy. And if you question what I just said, I want you to try breaking out into a skip the next time you're walking down the street. I have a feeling that you're going to get some severely disapproving or even concerning looks. So, how do we recapture joie de vivre back into our lives? Well, the first key is that you regularly need to work on your self esteem. Your self esteem has many ingredients. It's how you see yourself in the world, whether you look at the world as filled with opportunities or just one trial after another. That would be the growth versus a closed mindset. Your self esteem also includes the running thoughts and beliefs that you have about yourself. Are you capable? Are you worthy? All of these play into your self esteem. But why is self esteem so important? Well, over and over, I have seen that your self esteem is the primary determinant of whether or not you'll achieve your goals and your dreams. But I know that self esteem is also sort of like a muscle, and therefore it needs constant attention. There will be challenges, that's all part of life. But just like strength training for our bodies, if you pay attention and take really good care of your self esteem, you can effectively manage yourself through any difficulties that you experience in your life. Now, I have to talk about comparisons. They are so easy to do because our culture today is all about comparisons. Well, comparisons steal away our self esteem. If you let yourself fall into comparing yourself to others, you'll never feel you measure up, and you'll find yourself obsessing over what others are doing. And I know this because it's something that I myself have to constantly work on. Think back to when you were a little girl and remember how you felt skipping down the sidewalk. You never worried what others would think. You didn't wonder if your skipping style was correct. You didn't care if your outfit was right. You didn't wonder if you were too fat or too skinny to be skipping. You didn't question if you were too old to skip. There were no comparisons. You just skipped because you felt happy. So join me in saying, comparisons be gone, and call them what they really are, which is joy thieves. So do a self-esteem checkup. In your journal, list out those negative and untrue thoughts that steal joy from your life. If you're like me, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Then on a different page in your journal, write out every obstacle you've overcome, every accomplishment that you've had in your life, and every positive piece of feedback that anyone else has ever given you during your lifetime. Now go back to that list, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. list of negative and untrue thoughts. And next to each of them, write out an affirmation that's based on the actual truths of your abilities, those accomplishments. Life is full of hurdles. And once you have overcome them, whether big or small, you feel empowered. And you can do it. COVID is a perfect example, a hurdle for sure. But if you're like me, you've learned so much about yourself and what you want in life as a result of staying home that the experience actually was invaluable. I've heard this from so many people. And when those negative thoughts come up, and they will, push back on every one of them and remind yourself of all your accomplishments. Go back to that page in your journal if you need to. Don't let those negative thoughts win. Honestly, they are just a big pile of hooey. So the next key to recapturing joy in your life is to check on your surroundings. And by surroundings, I mean the people around you and the spaces that you live in. So let's start with the people in your life. Are they positive? Are they joy supporting people? Or are they negative Nellies who focus on what's not working in the world and maybe in your city, in your town, or in their lives themselves? If you are not feeling good when you're around them, I suggest you have a conversation. And maybe, just maybe, they aren't aware of how they are impacting you. So this is an opportunity for you to kindly share how you are feeling and ask for what it is that you need and want. Asking for what you want is another super important ingredient to your self-esteem. Now, some people do this easily. They can just shoot out exactly what they want. But if that isn't true for you, it wasn't for me, practice. And I say that because I had to learn how to ask for what I wanted and needed. Instead, what I did before I learned this was I'd bottle things up until I was ready to explode. And then I'd let it all out, almost as an attack on the other person, asking why they weren't supporting me. The problem was that they had no idea that I wanted or needed support because I had never mentioned it. I was really angry at them for not being able to read my mind. So talk and share. And actually sharing your big dream and explaining what you need to make it happen is a learned skill. And you need that skill to recapture the joy in your life. Now, there are some people who still won't be able to pivot. We all know serial negative Nellies, I call them, or women who are focused on things that don't matter to you. But don't let them bother you because those women are not your peeps. If you are ready to step into the real you, the true you, you'll want to find other women who are also real and true. And I promise you that once you recapture your joie de vivre, you'll attract friends who are also living with the same joy and the same authenticity that you have. Now, the second component of your surroundings are your places and spaces. The places where you spend most of your time really truly do need to be clean and organized. So is your home a place of calmness and organization, or is it a crazy mess? Messy surroundings often do create messy minds because we all know that it's very hard to focus when there are so many things around that are just waiting to distract you. We all figured that out this past year. Now, I'm an organization nut. That's a strength of mine, but it might not be for you. And if it isn't your strength, get someone to help you. And this is a great reminder, once again, to ask for what you need and want. We are now in our homes more than ever, and it might be a trend that sticks. Therefore, it is more important now than it's ever been that our homes nurture us and cultivate our joy in living. So, the last key to recapturing joie de vivre in your life is to check on how you spend your time. What activities fill your day? Where's your time spent? Are you engaging in dream busting time wasters or dream nurturing activities? Do you feel joy in any of your daily activities? Well, a really fun way to check in on how you're spending your time is to keep a time journal for an entire week. It's serious. Write everything in it. You'll suddenly see how you spend your precious time day after day. If you're like me, it's rather awe-inspiring activity, actually. So explore those habits and you'll see that. You will start to see your habits in your time journal. So ask the question, do your habits support you? Are your habits moving you towards your dreams? Or are you one of those people, like I've been myself, where you lay in bed at night and you ask yourself, oh my God, why did I engage in that activity for another day? And we all need encouragement. So congratulate yourself when you've maintained a good habit one day at a time, because suddenly you'll be reflecting upon weeks of a good habit. This is episode 17 of a podcast. I committed to doing this once a week. I can't believe it's episode 17. Crazy. A good habit. So that said, good habits are much more difficult to incorporate into our lives than non-supportive habits or bad habits. They say it takes 21 days to form a good habit, but honestly, I can incorporate a bad habit into my life in less than a week. It's a skill. So not all habits are created equal. Be your own cheerleader when you've had a win, regardless of how small it is. If you have a setback, encourage yourself to get back on track. And this is where my Facebook group can really help. Ask for support from the group and you'll get it. Again, ask for what you need. Next is movement. So, is there movement incorporated into your daily activities? And I've learned that movement really does reset the brain. So, use it to bolster your outlook and self esteem whenever you're feeling challenged. If you slip up on a habit or you start thinking negative thoughts or make comparisons, put on some music and dance. Who can sit still listening to September by Earth, Wind, and Fire or Dancing Queen by ABBA? Those are two of my favorites. So the next time that you're feeling challenged, pick out your songs and get up and dance. And if you really want to be brave, next time you're out for a walk, let yourself break into a skip. Now, next on the list is to watch your social media interactions, what you're reading, what videos you're watching. Basically, this is the food for your brain, and your brain is a sponge. So pay really close attention to what you are feeding it. You and you alone are in control of how and what you feed your brain. Now, explore your interests. What makes you smile? What relaxes you? What are those special moments that bring a smile to your face? I love when the Eiffel Tower in Paris not only lights up, which happens at sundown, but twinkles, which happens at the start of every hour. Ooh la la, as they say. The darkness of winter does have a special benefit. More sparkles and twinkles. When I'm in Boston in December, I'm a happy camper when the lights on Comm Ave come on. I love it. No matter what, I will head out to see it because it makes me so happy. Honestly, I could skip. I also love to cook. I love to read. I love birds. I love history. Those are just some of mine. But find out what activities and interests bring you more joie de vivre, and then schedule them in. Put those in your day timers. So, in summary, to recapture your joie de vivre, diligently work on your self esteem. It matters. Check on your surroundings and make changes if needed. And then observe how you're spending your time. And find a way to bring joy into every single day. The joy of life is not just momentary, it's joy of life, all of it. So, ladies, I do hope this has been helpful. I want each and every one of you to embrace your own joie de vivre for 2021. And if you are ready to recharge your joy in living, I've got my brand new 3-week mini course titled Recapture Your Joie de Vivre coming out in February. Give it to yourself as a Valentine's Day gift. Now that is truly loving the real you. Just go to my website, sharriharmel.com, and join the wait list. I'll be doing a short webinar at the very end of January to share all about that mini course. But it's roughly 3 weeks long, starting right around Valentine's Day. As always, thank you for listening and for being with me on this journey. And if you liked this podcast, please write me a review because reviews do matter. A biento.